Hey y'all, welcome in. If you are new or just passing through my channel, welcome. My name is Tam. I'm also known as the Enlightened Auntie if you're returning. Welcome back, squad. I'm here today to do another general collective reading. We're not sign specific here, we're also gender fluid. I may say you and I'm talking to them. I may say them, I'm talking to you. Put yourself in the story wherever you seem to fit. Remember that time and energy are fluid, so I could be talking about the past, present, or the future. Take the parts that resonate, leave everything else behind. If you would like to book a personal, more aligned with your own story, all of my information is below in the description box. I invite you to join me for a session. My books are always open. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I feel like I need to say this. Because every now and then somebody weird gets in my comments, making weird ass comments. And for the most part, you know, I block and go and just go on about my life. And then in the rare instance, I may actually respond. But yesterday, I want to say 2 days ago, it's been 2 days now, I stumbled across, and I posted it in my community board. I stumbled across a reader, and I actually I watched maybe 2 or 3 of his videos, and they're really short. They're like, 10, 12 minutes long or whatever. Very short, to the point. And I recommended, I posted it to the community board recommending that my viewers go check him out, subscribe, watch his videos if you're so inclined. And then I got somebody in the comments being all weird, talking about I wish people would just why can't we just subscribe? Why can't we watch some of the videos and then decide if we want to subscribe? I'm not telling you. I said, yes, I did recommend that you go subscribe. We want to boost his numbers. I'm paying it forward just like Captain Reed did for me. It goes without saying, I would hope that one would use discernment. So if I recommend a channel to you, obviously I'm thinking you have the discernment enough to watch some of the content before making the decision that it is in alignment with you and that you would like to subscribe. I'm not demanding that you subscribe to somebody's channel just because I said so. But you want to argue about it and try to make points. Whatever, child. Whatever. I don't know why y'all think you can come here and talk crazy in my comments and not get cussed out. Now, this wasn't a reason for me to cuss or any of that, but I'm not love and light. I'm thunder and lightning. Like, don't come here being weird in my comments, because the next step is to be blocked. And if you don't like that response, I'm sorry. Not really. Okay, this is my platform, and if I choose to recommend and pay it forward so that you can show somebody else some love, is it really that difficult? Is that hard? I'm sorry. What in the hell? Girl, go touch some damn grass. You want to leave a whole paragraph in the comments about, you hate it when other readers tell folks to just blindly go follow a reader. Nobody said that. If that's the way you took it, that's a you thing, not a me thing. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into it. I'm like, use your own damn discernment. If you like his content, if I like his content, I'm thinking maybe you might like his content too. If you don't, okay. Girl, you want to argue with me and tell me you can't stop being weird? Okay, don't be weird here. Do what the hell you want to do. Don't bring that shit here, okay? I'm not the one. Order to. Anywho, let's get into it. Let's get into it. First card out is death. Oh, hard. This feels like, and I can go in a couple of different directions with this. Hey. There's a couple of things going on here. There are some changes happening in someone's life. I'm kind of getting it as an end of one phase and moving into another, and it's coming into the future. I do feel like as you ease into this new situation, there may be a tendency for some to kind of look back at feels really interesting. It feels like somebody moving forward, like there's, something new comes along, or there's something new that you're getting into, but then there's also the lamenting over what has happened in the past. So it's like, the past can't come along with you, right? The past can't come along with you. In the recent past, you may have been overly consumed with worrying about things that were kind of outside of your control. And it required you to kind of build up a certain level of courage to face the things that are beyond your control. Especially in the area of resources. Now, it's interesting because I do have an energy out here. Like, if you at one point had felt a level of poverty consciousness, it almost feels like again, you're going from one phase of your life where you may not have, had this overflowing abundance. And a lot of that had to do with where your focus was. I'm getting like all kind of crazy ass images in my head right now. Okay. The other thing is, if there was a level of poverty consciousness that was in your awareness, I kind of feel like, while you may not have had like this overflowing bank account, it wasn't really as bad as what you may have perceived it to be. Like, your needs are being met. You have everything you need. Like I said, you may not have like all the extra zeros in your bank account, but you have everything you need. But if there was a period of time where you felt like you didn't have enough, I do see something coming on board, coming towards you in the near future. I'm a little perplexed about this disappointment in the past, or at least the fact that there are some things or some people or some emotional connections that just cannot come forward with you. Okay. Okay. Oh, I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm like, I don't know who I'm talking to. This ain't me. I'm like, I don't know who I'm talking to. There's an energy out here where, someone here is being faced with a decision, and I see it when I look at this card. This is the Five of Wands. Now, generally, we know the Five of Wands, it can't talk about conflict. Usually it has like, five people all holding a stick looking like they're trying to beat each other. This particular deck and this particular card, this Five of Wands, feels a little bit more like an internal struggle that also includes, there's a lot of emotions out here. So remember the last few readings we were talking about earth and water. Now I've got earth, water. I do have earth and water out here. Yeah, I got earth and water out here. A little bit of fire and a little bit of air, but primarily earth and water. This particular Five of Wands, the energy of this imagery talks to me about, I feel like there's an energy out here of like someone being it's like being at a crossroad, but on one hand, you're waiting for something to happen before you make a particular decision of like which path to go on, or which road to take, right? But But in that waiting phase, you're also carrying a lot of hidden emotions that you are not discussing, and you may even feel like almost, I want to say trapped, but it's really not. I don't honestly feel like, I don't think that you are trapped. I don't think that you are. But you feel like you are. And then you have all these unspoken feelings about whatever you're experiencing, or whatever you perceived yourself to be stuck in. Okay. We'll take the 2 cards that flipped. Actually, we'll take all of these cards because they all... Ooh, wow. Okay. I'll say this. If you happen to feel stuck in a situation, and now I could be talking about a marriage or partnership, some deeper level of commitment, because I do have the Hierophant out here. If I'm not talking about a marriage, if this is not about a relationship dynamic, and this is more about like the pursuit, your life pursuit, work, school, something that definitely requires a lot of time and effort and energy, I kind of feel like you might be doing something. That's what it feels like. It's like you stuck doing something, or you feel stuck doing something that you don't actually want to do. Like because I don't feel like there's any actual, like, you don't love it. You ain't very happy. You're not very happy. This feels like you're not really all that into it. You're not into it. I'm kind of getting like either a career. This feels more like a career thing versus a career, or an education thing versus a relationship thing. So if you're feeling at a deficit of some kind, I think that deficit almost feels like, okay, it's like somebody going to school. We'll use school as an example. It's like somebody going to school, pursuing a path or a pathway in school that they don't really enjoy, but, it probably makes a lot of money. It probably would make a lot of money if they continued on that path. But they're just not in love with it. Not in love with it. Not very committed to it. Not really. I kind of feel like there's something else that you may want to pursue. But here, again, like I said, you're waiting for something. It's like waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're like waiting for one thing before you make your decision about the other thing. But then there's also this weird energy, and I tell this to my clients all the time. Like, when you make a decision, I don't think you should put yourself, because most of us, like, when you feel like you have to defend the position of why you chosen to, do whatever you do, I feel like, one, I don't think you should ever feel like you have to defend a decision that you make for yourself. I just don't. And I also kind of feel like you don't either. I kind of feel like you don't even, it's like you don't necessarily want to, you're not sharing how you feel, though. That's the biggest thing I see. You feel a certain kind of way, but you may not be necessarily, publicizing it or telling anybody how you feel. It almost feels like, because I'm getting conflicting energy. Because one, I'm hearing like, why am I even fighting for this? Like, because again, I feel like whatever this is that you've invested your time in, you're not really all that into it. And maybe part of the reason why you haven't actually made the moves, you feel bound to this thing, but you're not really. I want to point out, though, that whatever the decision that you make, if it's in alignment with what you want, maybe let's look at it from that angle. Because I'm always going to tell you, if you feel, and this has been a theme that has been coming up a lot in the collective, if there is an area of your life where you feel like a push-pull energy, that is just simply telling you that wherever you are, it is not in alignment with where you're supposed to be. You're not in alignment there. So this very well could be, like I said, it's giving me job. It's giving me job school thing. Like, so if you got a job and you've been there for a long time, but you're no longer happy there, and you're not really much of a team player, you're not into it anymore. You're just not into it, right? If you, and then here's the other thing. You're not into it. There is a concern about moving forward, but I will tell you, you're protected the entire way. Like, whatever this decision is, you're you're gonna be protected. You're fine. You're gonna be fine. Okay. And the crazy part about it is, usually when I see the Five of Cups, the Five of Cups, it's primarily the crying over spilled milk, whatever didn't work out in the past. You can't really fix it. You can't change it. You can't do anything about it. It is what it is. But the other two cups are usually very, very close in proximity, and usually more often than not, you don't even notice them. They're like right here. And really all it requires, I feel like part of the issue here, whatever this is, part of the issue is taking the initiative. I think right now you're spending way more time in your head and then very unhappy. But you spend way more time in your head than taking any actual action, because honestly, I don't see any action cards out here. There are no action cards out here. You feel a way about it, but you're not taking any direct action towards anything. Okay, so part of the problem is you're worried about taking... Okay, part of this thing is that you're kind of worried about taking the action because, again, there is a concern. That's what I'm saying. I think this is a work... This definitely could feel like a work thing. Somebody here could be afraid to take action. Now, I also have an entrepreneurial energy out here. So if you are considering quitting your job to become an entrepreneur, I'll tell you, as somebody who has quit their job to become an entrepreneur, I probably did it the wrong way. If I had done it a different way, I might not have struggled as hard, in the initial onset of my decision. So I do see where it's kind of like, well, if I do this, then I'm worried that, I'm not necessarily going to have the money. And that's the thing you also have to prepare yourself for. Like, when you become an entrepreneur, that steady every other Friday paycheck, that's not how the money comes in. You got to learn. There's a learning curve. There is a learning curve to being an entrepreneur and working for yourself. So, ideally, it would be better for you to kind of like, if you still have a job, to keep that job until you've kind of ironed out some things for yourself. I mean, that would be the smart way to do it. But I can see the concerns. Like, if I go do this, then I might have to rely on someone else. I might have to rely on someone else, for some type of financial assistance. If things don't come in the way that I want it to, then I'm going to have to rely on someone else. Because I can tell you, success in business success is not an overnight. It's not an overnight process. So it's important that you take the steps that you need to take so that you can have a very solid foundation for yourself. But again, there is also a learning curve that comes with it. Okay, so you got to be prepared for that. Ooh, something flipped. Yeah, see, here's the thing. One of the major blockages, the fact that you might be really, I don't know if you're even hiding your dissatisfaction. I just don't think you like where you are. I don't think you're happy where you are. You might even be not happy where you are, and you're not hiding it. And there is this fear of the again, like there is an element of the fear of the unknown. You know, if I quit my job, like what if, all the what ifs, right? But the thing is that, again, where your mind goes, your energy flows. Okay, so yes, you want to be realistic, but I also need you to have a plan. Okay, if this is something that you are intending to do, you need to have a plan. And the longer you stay there, trying to remain patient and continuing, is I don't recommend. Because I feel like the longer you stay there, trying to like make it work or try to be loyal to some, it's not in alignment with you, and it's kind of like it's kind of like holding on to something, or holding on to a job or a situation beyond its expiration date. Like, I kind of feel like the longer you stay there, the worse the conditions are going to get. Part of the lesson was for you to be able to make the decision, like, do I stay or do I go? And I see it up here, do I stay or do, and you're definitely, there's a little bit of struggle there. And if you've been there for a long time, like whatever this is, like I said, it could be work, it could be work, or it can be an educational path. I don't necessarily see this as a relationship. I mean, it could be. It could be. I'll read both ways. First, what I'm looking at, because primarily what I see is like a work situation or an educational path that somebody's just really not into anymore. And whatever this is, I just see a lot of this. Like, even this whole side of the board is like, I'm worried if I take this action that I'm going to end up having a need. I'm going to need help or something. Like, it's kind of a weird energy, but it really looms more around like the fear of the unknown, staying somewhere because it feels safe, yet you're there and you fucking hate it. You don't like it. It doesn't give you the warm fuzzies. You're unhappy. You're genuinely unhappy. And so if you want to see some kind of change in your life, you have to take the initiative to make that change. You have to take the initiative. But you're being given an option right now, and that's been part of the lesson. It's like, do you cling on to the thing that, you know, that you're not happy with? Do you cling on to that? Or do you let it go so that, you know, when one door closes, another door opens? When you release the things and people and situations that no longer are in alignment with you, you make room for what actually is. Yeah, this definitely could be about work. I'm like, yes. 6 of Swords, 8 of Pentacles. Like, yes. Like, you're not happy being where you are. And it kind of feels like you need to distance yourself from where it, like, you need to distance yourself there, because you are just, I just see a lot of unhappiness. A lot of unhappiness wherever you are. Okay. Now, if we are talking a relationship, because I can kind of see that too, same thing applies. There is an energy here where on this board, it feels very much like the masculine energy The masculine, there's a masculine energy on the board. I do have counterparts. That's why like I said, could be a marriage. But this is the feminine energy that may, while she may still have love for this masculine, one or both parties may feel trapped in this relationship. But what's really prominent here in the center is that there is a shift or a change happening within the relationship. And the thing that I need to remind you is that it is not as bad as you think it is. The problem is one of you is hyper focused on disappointments from the past. That would be a problem, because you can't take that energy into a new cycle, and there is a new cycle here. So somebody here got to make a decision. Somebody here got to make a decision, because I do feel like at one point, and I kind of feel like it's the feminine, this kind of feels like the feminine to me, because I think at one point the feminine energy may have been I don't know, very insecure about her position within her relationship or within her marriage. She may not have even seen her own value in that connection. So she may have like overexerted herself, in tending to everything else and everyone else's needs and not her own. Right? I just feel like, I don't know, it's because I can see where there's an energy here. There's somebody who just feels like they're not, there's definitely an energy of somebody here not being a team player, though. I can tell you that. And it's largely because they're just, somebody here is just not happy. It's like not happy and no longer interested or willing to fight for the relationship. And then in the fears, the same thing applies. Like, the fear is like, okay, if I may take action to move on, I may be at a loss. There may be some type of financial deficit, and then I'm going to have to be worried about that. And then somebody can't even hide the dissatisfaction. I just see a lot of this, like, you can't hide how somebody here is unhappy, and it cannot be hidden. Like, they can't, this is visible. As far as I'm concerned, it's visible. It's visible. And the biggest thing is somebody needs to make a decision. You may be waiting for, so if I'm talking to somebody who is waiting for some kind of an apology, like say if you and your partner are like beefing or whatever, October's astrology is really, really gnarly. A lot of angsty energy in the air. I don't know. When the energy gets really angsty, I just try to keep my mouth shut, because I know my mouth is slick. But this here kind of feels like if there's some kind of conflict or issue between, say, you and your partner, if you're kind of waiting on an apology, I know like 3 people I can send this to. I know 3 people I can send this to. If you're waiting on an apology, honestly, I don't think you're going to get it. If that's what you're waiting on. Honestly, I don't think you're going to get it. Because I kind of get the impression that your partner is not, like, one or both of you are not team players, because I see that here. There's no team players here. And while you may be patiently trying to wait for some type of change, that change is not actually happening. The change doesn't happen unless you actually see some action being taken. I don't actually see much action happening here. I don't see a lot of action here, but I will say this. If there is a relationship dynamic that is coming to an end, when one door closes, another door opens. You do have something, you have a new cycle that is coming in the near future, but before you can actualize this, there's a decision that you need to make first. And it can't be, because this card usually tells me like you're waiting for something to happen before you make the decision. So here it almost feels like you're waiting for this empty ass apology to come in. I don't honestly think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. And this kind of feels like, to me, like if we're talking about moving forward, it's like instead of trying to play the game of one-upmanship, that's not going to work. Instead, it feels more like just give that up. That gameplay, the mind games and all that shit, let that go and just move on and go focus on yourself. Focus on, like, you know, if you feel like you're at a financial deficit, like if on your own you feel like you're at a deficit and you need to like get your coins up or whatever, focus on that. Focus on making your paper. Focus on, you know, whatever is going to be able to sustain you in the long run, long term. Focus on yourself. Like, that's the biggest takeaway that I see out here. But there's a decision that you absolutely need to make. Yeah, and this feels very much like you're overthinking it. And while you may feel very bound to whatever you're in, you're not really. Not really. Not really. And again, this could be a career path. It could be an educational pursuit. It could very well be a marriage. But you're not as bound as you perceive yourself to be. Interesting. So at one point, maybe you were trying to avoid a permanent ending. You may have been trying to avoid a permanent ending at one point, which is kind of weird because it seems like in the recent past, you were hyper focused on things. Like I said, you've been hyper focused on things that were outside of your control, when you should have been focused more on yourself. I honestly think this is some ego type shit right here. So you didn't want this thing to end. Again, like I said, it could be work, it could be job, it could be a marriage or a relationship. Because it feels more like you didn't want it to end because of the optics. Her fear of failure. Fear of failure because of how it would be perceived. That's why, like, down here is like not wanting to have to defend the decision. It's the optics. It has something to do with the optics. This is an ego thing, child. And instead of being disappointed in how things worked out or how they didn't work out, look at this from a different point of view and recognize that maybe you and this pursuit, whatever it is, are not on the same page. And if this is a relationship between you and another person, Y'all don't see eye to eye. So instead of being disappointed in how, it didn't quite go the way that you had anticipated it to go, recognize that, maybe this just wasn't in alignment in the first place. You know what I mean? Because y'all don't see eye to eye, and if you don't see eye to eye, you can't move forward at the same pace. You're not going in the same direction. Yeah. Oh. What in the hell? Okay. Okay. Now we go back to I know I'm going back and forth, but I want to talk about it all. So remember when we start off, I was like, it could be like a work situation. We talked about like the entrepreneurial aspect because I can kind of see that too. So here's the thing. If somebody is thinking about, if somebody is strongly considering becoming an entrepreneur, I will say you do have the ability to do it. Like, this energy actually supports that pursuit, but it's going to require, like, it requires work, and you have the tools and all of the abilities in order to accomplish what it is that you want, like, and make the kind of money that you want and to be financially secure. You have the ability to do it, but I do want you to understand it does require an investment of time and effort. Okay, so with that said, there's also going to have to be a level of like patience, because it's not going to happen it's literally not going to happen overnight. So you will be very unhappy if you decide like, I'm going to go be an entrepreneur and immediately think that you're going to start making money right off the bat. It don't really work that way. I mean, I don't know anybody personally that it's happened that way. It doesn't work that way, but I kind of feel like if you employ the kind of patience that is required and you take the time, you will actually reap the rewards of all the work that you put into it. But you have to be willing to put that work in, right? But before you do that, you have to also be willing to kind of face yourself and be honest with yourself about where you are and make a decision. Because like I said, if this is a work situation, you're not happy where you are, and I think a lot of what this is, it almost feels like you're there. Like, yeah, I get it. You're there for the paycheck. You're there for the, the steady money, but you don't like what you're doing. And so this talks about you making this decision. You know how I talk about the Lover's card and the Devil card being like two sides of the same coin, where the Lover's card is putting you in alignment with something that your heart really wants, like for yourself, something that's going to make you happy, where the Devil is tying you to something that you're really not that into. The money at a job that you can't stand, that you hate. You know what I mean? So you have to be willing to put an end to it. 10 of Swords out here twice. And the 6 of Swords twice in the same line. You have to be willing to make a decision to finally just be done and walk away. Now, if we're talking about a relationship in the same vein, this is like being honest with yourself about the relationship dynamic that you're in, and making a choice instead of staying to be, financially secure. Because this doesn't feel, honestly, I want to say it doesn't really feel like if this is a marriage, I'm talking to someone specifically who's not like all that. They're not happy. You're not happy here. So if you're not happy here, then you need to make decisions that are more rooted and aligned with your happiness and what you want. So having said that, and I don't have the 10 of Cups out here, but having said that, I'm going to keep on preaching it. When you think about the 10 of Cups and your emotional fulfillment, what does that look like? And if what you have in front of you right now is not the part of the image of what you want for your 10 of Cups, then you have to start making some changes in your life, making some decisions that put you more in alignment with what you want and not with what you don't want. Yeah, it's something. There's like this entrepreneurial thing, because I got it out here again. I'm telling you, you don't really have anything to worry about. You're worried about having to be. You're worried about having to. I don't know. It's like worried about having to rely on someone else. But I believe that you have the capability by yourself. But I also think, because now I have another set of counterparts and they're both in the upright, I actually like this. I do feel like if you are choosing to part ways, like this is a job, if you're choosing to part ways from a job and you're choosing to be an entrepreneur, all it requires of you is to take the action. It just requires you to take the action. To have confidence in your decision making and your ability to do whatever this is that you choose to do, to, you know, whatever it is you're trying to create or execute. You have the ability. You absolutely do. You have it. But you also have to have the dedication and the patience to build. Okay? Damn. The blockage, the tower in the world. Yikes. You kind of worried about the changes. You're reluctant to make the moves. But I honestly feel like you know it's time. Whatever this is, you know it's time. And like I always say, when one door closes, another door opens. Change, there's no growth in stagnation. So the longer you stay wherever you are and not happy, whether you're in a relationship or whether this is school or whether this is work, the longer you stay doing something that you're not happy with, the more miserable you're going to be. When one door closes, another door opens. This is pushing you, like literally, the divine is pushing you to make a decision that is scary as hell. It is scary as hell. This change feels very scary. But you know that something has kind of, we're at the end of the road. We're kind of at the end of the road. And if you want to expand your world a little bit bigger than whatever it is that you've been doing that you feel trapped by, it's time to just move past the fear of the unknown and be like, let's go. Let's do it. You know what I mean? And it's really, oh shit. Ay, ay, ay. I think it's also going to probably require maybe a conversation. And if it's not a conversation, because I kind of feel like you're like I do feel like you're definitely like keeping something secret. How you feel, you're like kind of holding back. This feels like having a conversation where you are actually talking about how you feel, but I do want to also say it does not require. Can you have the conversation without being aggressive? Because I don't think that there's a need for aggression. Like when you're telling somebody how you feel, I don't know why I'm saying this, because I'm like just looking at the cards and like what they all kind of mean when they're together, the energy that comes with this. You can say how you feel or discuss your feelings, or discuss your feelings on the situation at what needs to change or whatever. But I would refrain from doing it in a way where there's a whole lot of aggression present. I forgot. I need to look at this planet placement right now to see where this is in the sky, because I kind of think I know what this is. What's happening in the sky? Oh my god, she changed the website. I'm like, the Channy app, she changed some stuff. So I'm having a hard time like figuring out where everything is, because I'm like, what did she do? She moved. I can no longer see what's like going on in the sky like in real time right now. I don't want to know my astrology, and I don't want to know today's forecast. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Mercury is in Libra until October the 6th. Mars is in Scorpio, though, so until November 4th. So I know it's a little bit spicy. It's going to be a little bit spicy. That's why I'm saying Mercury is in Libra, so I'm like, try not to, like, you can talk about how you feel. And Venus is in Virgo, and I know that's an uncomfortable energy too. If you have this conversation and you talk about, you honestly tell somebody or discuss how you're feeling about the situation or whatever, about something coming to an end, maybe it doesn't require you to be aggressive while you're doing it. This is just a cautionary thing. Because I can see where you are trying to be as patient as possible. You're just kind of plodding along. But again, I also kind of feel like this requires less action and maybe more communication. Honest communication. Yeah, what did I say? I'm like, part of the lesson here is like making a decision to walk, like, I hadn't gotten there, but it's like making a decision. Same thing, the walk away. It's like, because the Two of Wands is like, do I stay or do I go? And so we got the Eight of Cups here, but it's also in the reverse with the Two of Swords, also in the reverse. Part of the lesson here, it kind of feels like you need to make a decision, but I think you also need, this decision also is going to require you to kind of plan for the future as well. But I feel like it's just not beneficial for you to stay somewhere where you're not happy. I just see a lot of unhappiness out here. And so I think, one of the bigger conversations needs to be with yourself. Like, this feels a little bit more like a conversation with you, like you to you, not you necessarily talking to somebody else or talking to your partner or talking to your boss or talking to coworkers or whatever. This feels more like you need to have a conversation with yourself. Like, okay, wait, look, what am I doing here? Because I'm not happy. And if you're waiting for something to change, I honestly feel like the change needs to be you. I don't think anything in the actual environment is changing, because I think that's what you're waiting for. I kind of feel like you're waiting for some kind of magical fairy to come sprinkle their fairy dust so that something in the environment changes, but I don't think that's going to happen. The other thing too, is you need to make the decision, because I'm not sure if I said this before, but I usually say it when this card comes out. It's like you have all these emotions or whatever, and you're worried about bringing this thing to an end. But you're waiting on something to happen before you make the decision. And that's not how it works. You're supposed to make the decision and just let it fall wherever it falls. So you can kind of get yourself out of that emotional binding. Because that's what it feels like. This may very well have something to do with work. Eight of Pentacles is out here again. Yeah, especially if like you're not getting along with coworkers or employee, you know, like the other employees. Yeah, it's time. I think you're thinking. I think you're. I kind of think you're overthinking it a little bit. And I think it's time for you to just kind of like make the decision, take the action. I think bigger thing is the taking the action. Because it's one thing to talk about like how you're not happy, but if you're not actually doing anything about it, then what are we doing? Yep. It's kind of like moving past your fear of the unknown. That's a big thing here. Moving past your fear of the unknown. Putting your mind at ease. Letting it rest. Child and boat, just move on. Go find something else. That's what I'm thinking. I think this is, honestly, this feels very work related. If you're not happy at your job, you're not happy with the environment, you ain't happy with the people, find another place to be. Find another place to be. Because I can tell you right here, I'm telling you, there is something new here, but you have to really like look at this whole situation. And instead of being disappointed about the conditions or the situation, look at it from a different point of view and just recognize that you're not in alignment with the group ain't in alignment with you, you're not seeing things, you know, you're not seeing eye to eye on the matter, you know, it could be like an issue between like you and your boss or something like that. Y'all ain't seeing eye to eye. So if you're not seeing eye to eye and you're not happy there and the environment is like, then you need to make certain decisions. And you staying there longer trying to be patient and just working it out is not going to make this situation any better. It's not going to make it any better. And that new job ain't just going to magically jump into your lap. You have to actually like take these additional steps. There are some steps that need to be taken. You need to take those. Now, if you're considering, like I said, if you're considering becoming an entrepreneur, I do have energy out here that supports it. But you have to be patient, you know. If you're going after something that you love and you're pursuing a path that you absolutely love, that you have the skill set for, then be patient. Take the initiative, step into your power, make the choice, take the initiative, but you're going to have to put an end to this thing that you no longer are into. Especially if you're there and you don't even feel like part of the team, or you're not really in this teamwork frame of mind. It's time to just go. It's time to go. Okay? Alright. Where are we time-wise? Oh, 53 minutes. I did not know it was going to be a long reading. I was just throwing cards. Let's get some Auntie on deck cards. Pay attention, use discernment, choose wisely. Redirect your attention, focus on yourself. Release control, stop trying to force an outcome. Divine timing is at play. Check your circle. There may be a backstabber, sometimes we call them friends. Remember to honor your ancestors, they're always with you. And don't be afraid, open your heart. I love it. Let's use some, actually, because I think this is a work situation. Let me use career cards. Let's use our life purpose cards. I don't even know what this deck is called, because I only use it for clients. Books. You connect to your life purpose through your involvement with books. Environmentalist. You're an earth angel who was born to protect, nurture, and teach about nature and the animals. Take what's yours. Counseling. You heal with kind words, wise advice, and an empathic ear. Study. Reading, research, and education help you gain confidence and clarity about your career. Crystals. Your connection to crystals and gemstones is a channel for healing energy. Author. You may have a book inside of you that wishes to be expressed. Make time to write it. Yoga. Your life is enhanced by yoga, stretching, and exercising. I'll take these. Creative expression. Your soul longs to express itself creatively. Trust your feelings and dreams to guide your career path. Energy healing. Your natural energy healing abilities are an important part of your life purpose. All right. Don't forget to smash the notification bell so that you're notified when I upload new videos. Thank you guys for all of the love that y'all show me on the channel. Passion is fading, possibly due to daily stress or emotional exhaustion, causing a loss of intensity. You may feel indecisive or anxious about making the right career choices, leading to delays or missed opportunities. You're in a phase of personal growth. Challenges and hardships are helping you to become stronger and wiser. You have set clear boundaries in your relationships, protecting your emotional space and fostering healthy interactions. Wealth is not just about money. It represents abundance in all areas of your life. You're in a phase of prosperity and contentment. Issues with intimate relationships are causing confusion or disappointment. Emotional distance or unspoken needs may be present. You're expanding your career through learning and self-improvement. New skills and knowledge will help you grow professionally. And doubts about loyalty are arising, leading to mistrust and uncertainty within a relationship. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it there. If any parts of this reading resonated for you, gave you clarity or confirmation over your own story, give the video a thumbs up so we can circulate into the algorithm and get in front of the eyes that need to see us the most. If you would like to book a personal more aligned with your own story, all of my information can be found below in the description box. I invite you to join me for a session. My books are always open. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to come back and do another video. This did feel more centered like I know I talked about it with work, school, or a relationship. It could have gone towards a relationship, but really it feels more like a work thing. Very well, like I said, it very well could be a relationship, but it felt very work related. So if this is your reading, let me know. If it's a relationship reading for you, also let me know that too. But like I said, it felt more like work. Just got to get past your own fear of change. I think that's really what it is. Like, I get being worried about not having a paycheck to fall on, or not having the financial support that you need. But again, you don't want to create a whole bunch of unnecessary worry by focusing on all the things that you would normally worry about, because that's where your mind goes, your energy flow. So let's not let the energy flow there, okay? I love you guys. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.